revoke the order of regularizing the 147 assistant professors. And as the spokesperson for the government of Nagaland, KG Kenya, had a press conference at his chambers here at the Civil Secretariat, he has said that the Department of Higher Education has embarrassed the cabinet and the entire government, and they have misled the cabinet as well. And in fact, he has called the minister Tamjin Imna Along's comments on certain media channels as annoying. Now, in regard to this, the CTAN and then the NNQF has struggled, and today was the 6th day of agitation. But much more longer is when this whole can of worms was opened up. We'll have a look at the press conference given by the spokesperson of Nagaland, government of Nagaland, KG Kenya. But before that, we have here the CTAN and NNQF supporters. And how do you feel right now?
We are happy, but not fully. We are very apprehensive that if there is no requisition, then there is no point of celebration. So we're still waiting for the official notification. We'll see.
Okay, thank you. So that was their reaction. Yes, they are somewhat happy, as we can show you also in your visuals after this. But then they said that until and unless the notification is out officially and requisition is done, then only they can celebrate. Let's have a look at today's press conference. And also, we spoke to Mission Noken, or in fact, he spoke to the entire crowd over here just outside the Department of Higher Education. And not to forget, and not to mention that the gate that was locked by the NSF has been opened right now. And the NSF right now, we cannot locate them right now. In fact, we wanted to speak to them about how they feel as well in this revocation order that has been officially passed by the government of Nagaland. Let's have a look.
Thank you for coming again. As you have been covering in the last few days, we have had some issues in regard to the Department of Higher and Technical Education with the issue of absorbing regularization of the 147 professors and librarians. So the aggrieved parties, they have taken the matter to the street. I don't have to go back to all the details, since we have already covered the entire background. And the citizens of this state, I believe, are aware of the details on what transpired and how it has led to this situation today. In the last few days, at the government level too, we have tried to persuade our aggrieved parties and student leaders not to continue with the agitation and not to vitiate the atmosphere, because it is something which we can resolve without going too far. In the first place, it is unfortunate that certain lapses has been committed by the department, the Higher and Technical Education Department, which misled the entire cabinet and the government into a very awkward situation. I must admit that government is embarrassed for having to review its own decision. But today, on one hand, we thank God that there has been no untoward incidents. From day one, our fear has been that accidents could occur in any form of agitations and protests. We cannot completely rule out accidents. So we had much apprehensions. I would thank the restraint exercised by the agitating parties also, and the prompt action of our administrative officers on the ground and the district executive forces also. It is a matter which pertains to one of the most challenging areas of our state today, in a sense that we have one of the highest literacy rates in the country. And the irony is that we have the lowest educated unemployment rates in the country. So, with this dynamics behind the situation, it is very much expected that from time to time such issues will crop up. Like any other states in the country, we have our own problems too. But the government and the people must learn to resolve our issues, our problems amicably. After much deliberation at different levels, we have received the interim report, not the complete report, but the interim report of the High Power Committee, which was constituted on the 21st of this month, when the issue first cropped up. And it was on that day that the cabinet felt there was something serious here which needs a relook. So we have constituted a high power committee comprising of high officials, and they have been given initially 8 weeks to delve into the issue and bring out a comprehensive report, basing on which the government could take any steps further. Otherwise, the government could not go beyond keeping the cabinet decision in abeyance. That was the furthest that the government could go without any substantial materials. But the cabinet took cognizance of the entire situation, and on presumption, purely on presumption, we have acted because we respect the views that have been put forward by the aggrieved parties, that it contains some substance and elements of truth. So instead of turning a blind eye and letting it fall on deaf ears, the government was quick and acted promptly by going back on its own decision and keeping the decision, cabinet decision, on hold by way of keeping it at abeyance. And simultaneously, as I'm telling you, by constituting that committee. So I must say that the government have reacted promptly, and were sensitive to the demands of our aggrieved parties and the students' community. With that, we have tried to persuade to call off the agitation and not to go any further. But on subsequent meetings, they have put forward the views that 8 weeks was too long a time. And the demands grew that the High Power Committee should be immediately dissolved also, and that the cabinet must immediately revoke the decision to regularize the 147 candidates. So yesterday, the day before yesterday, the night before last night, in fact, we have deliberated with the 2-3 parties and tried to put across to them that any further than keeping the order in abeyance, the cabinet requires some substance to move forward. So, in natural justice, even if we have to reverse, we need reasons based on facts, established facts, that something has gone wrong somewhere, basing on which we'll be able to take further steps. So we have tried to communicate this to them. And we are grateful that they could understand and have kept the protest at a low key. Today, the cabinet received the interim report of this high park committee in view of the tensions that is surrounding the entire issue. The HPC had to double their speed, and they could provide us some basis upon which the cabinet could take action. So they have recommended, after thorough deliberation, their initial findings is that this is a fit case for review, taking into consideration all the aspects of the study, which is still in the process. So, government fully understanding that tensions has to be relieved and the issues have to be resolved, and that we do not have different views. They feel that they have some facts with them to prove that this is wrong, and the cabinet also is convinced by the nature of this entire proceedings that some things might have gone wrong. So basing on this High Park Committee's interim report, the cabinet has decided to revoke the order regularizing the 147 candidates. That is where we are today. And with this, I hope the aggrieved parties who are on the streets will call off their agitation, and we shall all wait for the final report of the High Park Committee, which is due in 2.5 weeks' time at the most, basing on which the final decision will be taken by the cabinet again. Until such time, let us all bear with each other and restore peace and normalcy in our state.
Sir, the issue of this absorption, it seems it has started a few years back, and NSF had already informed the government about it. So why did it take so long for the government to realize the mistake?
Yes. I don't want to go into details again because you have been dwelling on all these intricacies. But the point that I was saying at the beginning is that there were some lapses on the part of the concerned department. That is the point where you're asking. But it was confined to the concerned department only. It never came up to the government's or the cabinet's level earlier. So something wrong was taking place in one of the directorates, but it was never brought to the notice of the cabinet earlier. So we are apprehensive that some serious consequences may take place. So the government has to rely on the reports of the High Power Committee. They will be establishing those facts which are still assumptions and presumptions. And after certain facts are established and they submit the reports, government certainly will take further actions.
Sure. Considering that the department officials will strictly be working under the directive of the concerned minister, will this affect the government in any way, the present government setup?
I will not go that far as to what might actually take place, but it depends on the nature and the degree of the anomalies committed. Whether it was deliberate, whether it was unintentional, whatever it be, to probe into all those aspects, we will have to rely and wait for the High Power Committee's report.
So the
Sir, what is the
HPC report, which is due in 3 weeks, will it be made public?
That depends, but we believe in transparency. And if the government is to take any action, we have to let the people know as to why we are resorting to take any actions or have failed to take any actions, both ways.
Sir, will
so why is that the government, when it had already had a standing order, then you say that the department had misguided the government. So how is that possible that the department misguided the government on this matter?
There are many ways where department can continue without bringing it to the notice of the government, which is not supposed to be. Which is not supposed to be. So, if something is happening contrary to a standing government OM, then actually it should not be resorted to in the first place. But it has escaped the knowledge of the cabinet earlier. And it was detected only after the aggrieved parties raised their voices. So this is something, as I said, quite awkward for the government also. Government should be vigilant, but it has escaped our notice, as I was saying at the beginning. So, though late, we will find ways to make corrections.
So, sir, will the government be committed to coming up with this kind of what do we say, in other departments? If such practices are taking place in other departments, will the government be committed to finding out, since the department has proved that it can be exploited, the labs?
Because the final approval is given by the cabinet.
We are alert now. We are alert to the issues, and we cannot rule out that there are no such practices in other departments also. So we'll be cautious now, in fact, be vigilant. And if there are such practices anywhere else, the rule is for everybody, not only to a particular or certain directorates.
Sir, will you be giving out anything in black and white to the student organizations because there is a trust deficit of verbal assurances?
Oh, certainly. Our chief secretary will be issuing a statement, in fact, at the earliest possible. Maybe in a few hours you get it. It is to do with the 147, whether they have been regularized in one order or in 2-3 orders, it does not matter. Okay? That is one. And I'm going a little too far, but it's not my job. But since you're asking me, I will just diverge a little bit. From what we can understand now, because things are yet to be established, facts. From what we can observe now, it appears to us that the 147 may be segregated into 2 or 3 categories. There are chances because of that 6th of June 2016 decision of the cabinet. You got a copy of that, I think. You are aware of that. So this group falls into two categories, or three, I think. So we may be able to find a solution, an amicable solution, if we handle this thing carefully and not just group them up in one category, which will be unjustified, and then see that justice is delivered in a fair manner.
So, do you mean to say that this particular group, 2016, the list, would be sent to the NPSC? Is that the only legitimate way?
That will depend on the cabinet, but rules have to be followed, and most probably will resort to that. The government has to resort to that.
Sir, will you be inviting the aggrieved parties for a meeting today to brief them on?
Well, I have no such instructions, but there is no harm basing on the interim report, just an interim report, not a complete, not a final report. Again, to save the situation, to diffuse the tension and restore justice, we are again, hopefully, government will not be wrong this time, but revoking our decision. So this is, I think, something which everyone has to appreciate.
Did
So for
the-
the 147 position, will there be requisition by the NPSC?
Just now, status quo will be maintained for their case prior to their regularization, which means they will be on contract as them. And eventually, this again comes back to the HPC, depending on their report, the cabinet will sit and decide their fate further.
Did the interim report mention whatever was given this time, the partial interim report, about any more pending positions in the NPSC? Or even just assistant professor posts?
No,
Are
they
there
did
any
not-
pending?
They did not go that far.
Okay,
They had confined their research and findings only to this group this time.
all right.
Yeah, and how things have step by step reached so far.
Okay.
Sir, how is the cabinet viewing the statements made by the concerned minister in this regard, giving commitments that it will be revoked a few days back, which was supposedly to be on Monday last. So how is the cabinet viewing those statements made by the concerned minister?
Annoying. Very annoying. That's what the cabinet feels.
One last question from my side. Why does the government always take action following a protest or agitation?
Yes. But I have told you that, you see, why would the cabinet want to, or a government want to find itself in such an awkward and embarrassing position? Why? Not deliberately. So we didn't do this knowing. And we felt everything was right. Only after the aggrieved parties raised their voice, we realized that something went wrong or is wrong. So immediate and prompt action is being taken. And we have arrived at this decision to revoke. Otherwise, if we feel that things are all right, no matter how many people may raise their voice, go on protest, we will not turn back. See, that is the thing.
So one last question from my side. So you just mentioned that the department acted without the knowledge of the government. So by saying that, isn't the government absolving itself of any responsibility or any wrongdoing or shortcoming on its side?
See, that calls for camaraderie among the cabinet colleagues, trust, reposing trust in each other.
147 reasons to 147 reasons to 147 reasons to 147 reasons to
din sacrifice kona. See, now I should say that the Naga youths have already awakened. See, compelling the cabinet to sit again and again is not a joke, okay? We have really made an impact this time. Now, whenever the government comes up with another kind of policy to manipulate the people, they will have to think 10 times. You agree? So, I just want to congratulate all of you that at least it is being revoked. And for me, deep down inside my heart, I believe that since it is being revoked, the posts, all those posts will be going to NTSC. Though it's not, we have not got in black and white now, but since it is revoked, it is a great victory for all of us, the educated people. Now, at least we can say that, we can be confident that if you study, you will get through NTSC. Because we had the fear that even if we study, if there is no post, what is the use? Backdoor is so gushijay. Now, man realize kuli paresis or naga manundu awaken hushi. Ita mo narambra exam bi diuli paro, not right? And we are going to tackle other departments also, not only this. You'll be there with us, isn't it? All of us. This is a mass movement. Some department may feel bad, okay, if I mention the name. We have to do. It's a neat video. See, I'm also getting to go social welfare department there, supervisor 15 posts advertised Krishna. So they already 22 joint companies there. So, before this happens, I just want to warn the department to be careful. Because don't fool the aspirants anymore. The same thing with this forest department also. Now, what did they say? See, 2017 day, 2022 day, this year first the forest guard lado 100 rupees next day 200 rupees. This year come on 300. And they have not conducted the exam now. Now I want to remind whoever concerned it is, the minister, the director of the PCCF, Pat Kuridi, Damali Nakili Jawidu, and Duk Painaman, the please later to black and white PUBG there, I still were peaceful or Jamuni. Thank you so much there, it's okay.
अपनी खाने के भी डिपार्टमेंट अलग अलग खाने अभी खान बेडर अपॉइंटमेंट खाने 5 किलोमीटर दिया जाता है हाँ तो बोल रहा है Are you ready to fight for our future? अभी खान आज first day बड़ा आज till that अभी खान एक भी disturb ना कोई नहीं अभी खान शांति इस protest को करना है अपनी खान के सब के thanks जैसे আমি খান আজি কুইটা নিচিনা কালি বি ৰেডি হৈ গলে থাকিব লাগিব জলদি আৰু বেটাৰ এপইন্টমেন্ট লাবছা কোনবা জন্ম হৈ গলে আহি আছে আমি খান আজি সাইলেন্ট হৈছিল কালি কাল আমি খান ফিউচাৰ খতম হৈ যাব আমি খান আজি চুপচাপ থাকি গৈছিল আমি খান ফিউচাৰ হলে If you are face tomorrow may be worse than this. American, if you are police department, second, police department, we can be sure. American, you demand to Eastern Naga, our Semalota, Chan Santam, Nalage. We are Nagas. When we are going to fight for our future. Apuni khan ready ko den se we abhi khan aste hoine chor khan kam to olai do abhi khan future de khara kuro Ami kan indirectly, politically, indirectly, ami kan get treated in Bisha here. Hello, Nadunaga again, Bohibule, ami kan a face because you know. Ami kan aga, ho, no, ami kan aga tribal leaders number, ami kan get Bishi, treated in a headache. We are born not to be afraid of them. Ami kan kote khara guru kare se tade khara guru. Ami kan kote jabu la se tade jabu. Apuni kan karne jabu. Apuni kan karne jabu. Ami kan laga corruption leaders. Ami kan laga corruption NGOs khabar. Ami kan laga future discuss dekho bole. Ami kan underground kan 27-28 party ko na. Underground eklan ho re. There's lots of underground. Who is worse than who is silently, indirectly, itu kan baru dia kan berapa sia. Itu kan Amerika aste mungkin kun nasi itu kan review.